Okay, there are really two ways to make a pie crust. The first is to dump everything, dry ingredients first, then your fats and oils into a food processor, and then add your water and let it all blend it together into a ball. It's the fastest method and it's what I use most of the time. The other way is to use a pastry cutter, set of 2 forks, 2 knives, or even use your hands very gently to mix the fat and the flour together and then to combine your water into it. Now the second method takes longer. It's a more traditional method, but I find that using the food processor gets you just as good of a result as doing it with a cutter, and you can crank out more product this way and use less water in bringing the ball together. I've already added flour, sugar, and salt to the bowl of my food processor. Now I'm going to add in my fat, and I'm going to show you how fast it is to put this together. Okay, so I've got my cubes of butter and shortening added to the mixture. And if you're wondering why I use both butter and shortening or why I chose a recipe that has both butter and shortening, it's because butter acts as a fat that gives a lot of flavor, and shortening adds tenderness. So if it was just butter, you would have a crust that was kind of flat and greasy. If it was just shortening, you would have a crust that didn't have any flavor. So if you do a mix of two, it makes the crust have flavor and it'll hold its shape a little bit. I used to think that using a food processor and making crusts like this was cheating, but then I figured out that, look, it's still from scratch. I'm still using all of my own ingredients, and there's no need to be a masochist when it comes to home cooking. If you have technology available to you to make things easier, go for it. Okay, now I'm just going to pulse this until it comes together. You don't want to run it continuously because the motor gets hot and that'll start melting the butter, and you don't want that. So just check it for any large chunks of butter or shortening. Okay, and most of my fat has broken down to small chunks, and overall it has a consistency of cornmeal, so we'll take that. Okay, and again, we're just going to pulse the water in. You only need a couple of tablespoons, just enough until it starts to form a ball, and it's going to happen really fast, so you need to watch carefully. There it goes. So you can see how it sort of lumps together really fast. It's came together. And when it gets to this stage, you need to stop and pick it up, feel it, and test it for consistency. Now, this is fine, so I can leave this. I can always add a little bit more water if I need to, but it's hard to take water out once you've added it in. So I'm going to mound this into a ball, and I'm actually going to freeze this for later. And that's the great thing about making your own crust at home. You can make as much as you want to ahead of time, do it assembly line style, wrap it in plastic. You can wrap it flat between 2 pieces of wax paper, roll it up, and then put it in a plastic Ziploc bag and freeze it until you need it, and then right before you need to bake your pie, just take it out and let it defrost on the countertop.